HCC's Psychology Club, Psi Kappa, brings in a speaker of interest every year. This year, that privilege fell to Houston GLBT activist Jack Valinsky.
I'm an activist in the GLBT community, and I had never imagined that early in my life that it would have turned out that way. I have been very lucky to work with some great people. I've worked with some projects. I've had my failures, of course, but I think some of the things I've done, like putting together a pride parade and continuing to do that for 25 years and making it a night parade, and having people come out in these wonderful floats and throwing the beads and having a great time in our community was just an incredible thing to be able to do with a lot of help from a lot of people.
And part of building an organization, and as I talked to you about being open and transparent, is also to try to work with everybody in the community you can. And I can't always say I've been successful.
What's really important about working in an organization that's community-based is to be able to have it open. You know, I was very lucky that some people told me early on, and I guess I just started to follow it, like during my years in Pride, we had public meetings. We had it in a city building. It was accessible. At the same time every month, they were open, and people were able to talk, be able to criticize. And I'll be honest, in the early days, I took offense sometimes to the criticisms, but then you listen and you try to do the best to, if you're serving the community, you got to do the best to serve the community.
That we really try to talk about people in the community. It's real easy to interview somebody who's the head of Human Rights Campaign or National Gay Lesbian Task Force, but it's more important to talk about the people in the community who are actually doing stuff.
I'm slowing down a little bit as I get older, but I think the community is getting better. We certainly still have a lot of challenges. I'm really happy to see younger people get up and get involved in this whole thing over the equal rights ordinance that went through the city of Houston. The young people that were organizing people to come to council to speak, to go out into the community. After the petitions were signed, so that that they went out and they tried to verify it. I was just so happy that there were other people doing it. The tools we have now with computers and internet and stuff, how people are organizing, it's great. You know, it's sometimes a little bit hard to keep up with it, but I'm really glad that we have those tools. It's also a little bit different because in the early days, the community, the joke was there was 5 activists. We used to also always trade hats. And that's changed a lot because we're not having to come into having these meetings all the time because people are able to organize from their home. And it's just different. It's probably better, but it's different. There are so many organizations. I mean, you can Google almost anything Houston GLBT and find out so many organizations, and most of them really want volunteers. But there are also a lot of other things that are not necessarily GLBT, but you can get involved in your civic club. You can get involved in your super neighborhood in Houston. You can get involved in your PTA. And if you're a GLBT person, you can bring something to that table by letting people know who you are and that you're interested. Going to city council and speaking up. I mean, I somehow am very lucky that I feel comfortable in front of audiences when I have something to say. Not everybody feels that way. Writing letters, that's really important because people don't write letters anymore. But writing letters to your state representative or your council member or your school board, that's all really, really important. You know, it's really easy to get up on Facebook and just ramble on about something, but it's more important to do those letters, to make phone calls, to get on knock on doors, to let people know that, you're organizing the community, you're helping organize the community. And it could be so many ways, whether it's cleaning up the trash or just making the community better in so many ways.
More information about Psi Kappa and its upcoming events can be found at psikappa.blogspot.com. For HCC Beat, this is Randall Williams.